Matt and Alex.
Okay.
On Triple J.
Very excited that this morning is a brand new day for some new music from Muse.
Absolutely. On the phone right now is the lead singer of that band, Matt Bellamy. Matt Bellamy, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. How's it going?
Good. How are you? I mean, I think we've caught you at an interesting time of the night. You're about to head out.
Yeah, I'm just about to go and do a gig in Brighton, a cool little seaside town in England, and it's the end of a little short tour we just did, like 6 dates around the UK, just playing like these little venues that we played back in 2001, and it's been great. You know, we've had real crazy fans and stuff, and it's been mental. It's been a good fun tour.
Sounds like you've been bringing out some songs from about that era as well, Matt. It was good to play a couple of things like Muscle Museum and various other things live again.
Yeah, it's nice to. Most of the set we're playing like a 3-piece, you know, so just playing the old stuff And it felt really good. Yeah, I actually pulled out a bunch of B-sides as well, songs that never got released, you know, on an album.
Oh.
And I realised some of them are actually better than the album tracks, you know. Really dug it. Songs like Futurism and The Groove, just it sounded really cool. Might have to bring them into the set list more often, you know.
How was the crowd response? Did they know these B-sides? Were they super fans and have checked it all out across your career?
Yeah, it's loads of real hardcore fans. You know, the front row is pretty much the same people at every gig for the last 10 years that I've seen. So it's basically there's a bunch of girls down the front that I spoke to them and they're like they've been to like 50 gigs each or like 40 gigs each. I mean, it's pretty mental. But the whole audience seems to know them. They seem to like these more rare tracks more than the main tracks because obviously they haven't been played very often. And I'm guessing a lot of the people that came to these gigs are pretty much the deep rooted hardcore fans that we have. You know.
Sure. And how are they finding the new tracks? I'm sure you're bringing out the ones off the new album Drones. What do they think of a track like Psycho, which we just played?
Psycho's going down amazing. Yeah, I'd say I've never seen a reaction as good as that to a new song before. You know, I can't ever remember seeing a crowd kick off that quickly to a new song. You know, and it's just a huge mosh pit basically.
Yeah, sure.
From the beginning to the end. Yeah.
What's the inspiration behind Psycho? Can you tell us about that track?
Well, it's part. The album's. This is probably more of a concept album than we've done before. In terms of it has a bit of a narrative. You know, it kind of it basically follows the journey of a person who kind of starts with like losing hope and then going through sort of being brainwashed into the military and being and battling these dark forces that are trying to sort of brainwash them. And then towards the end of the album, they kind of liberate themselves and sort of fight back. So it's got kind of themes of a lot of stuff that we talked about in previous albums, but it's kind of put it into a narrative form. And the song Psycho is basically the second song, which is. The first song is actually Dead Inside, which you're going to play in a minute, which is kind of the person who sort of loses hope and feels like sort of abandoned and lost, and then that leaves them vulnerable to being brainwashed by the military, and then they go on into sort of war and stuff like that, and then towards the end they end up sort of revolting and defecting against it all, you know.
And I can imagine the mosh going off for it live. How about the drill sergeant and the young private potentially in the live experience? Is that Chris and Dom doing a pantomime? How do you bring that to the stage, Matt?
Well, I was hoping Dom would be the recruit, you know, and I'd be more than happy to be the drill sergeant screaming in his ear to, that film. What's that film with the crazy drumming teacher? That's out at the moment, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Full Metal Jacket.
I don't know, Whiplash. Whiplash.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I think, I think Dom would make a good recruit. But it's good. Yeah, live it might be cool to get a drill sergeant in. Well, it's a good idea actually.
In the recording studio, are there any roles like that? Is there someone that needs to whip the others into shape and all right, guys, enough mucking around. We've got to get laid out a take here.
Oh, that was definitely Mutt Lange. You know, the guy he produced the album with us, and he was. I mean, he's a slave driver, man. It's crazy. I mean, he made us do like 35 takes of every song. You know, to the point where we were just exhausted. You know, I literally couldn't play anymore. You know, he kept making us play again and again and again and again, and it was like, wow. Maybe that's what inspired the lyric. I don't know.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Well, we are chatting to Matt Bellamy on Triple J this morning, frontman of Muse, and very kind of you, Matt. You're going to let us play for the very first time the new single from Muse, Dead Inside, from the album Drones. It is the lead track. Is there anything we should know before we play this for the good people of Australia?
It's a cool track, man. It's good.
That's all you need to say.
I mean, it's the beginning of the album. It's kind of, it's the only song on the album. There's only really 2 songs on the album that have kind of love themes, and this is kind of the song that kind of sort of losing hope and losing the idea of love and stuff, and then the album goes into a dark place after that. And then there's a song called Aftermath, which is kind of the end of the narrative, if you like, where the person re-finds love again, you know. So there's only really 2 songs that talk about love on the album, and this is the first one, but this is like a dark take on a love story, yeah.
Dead inside.
There it is, Dead Inside by Muse, played for the very first time on Triple J. So excited to be doing that this morning, and also very pumped to have Matt Bellamy from Muse on the phone from Brighton, where he's going to be playing a gig in a moment. That was awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, cool, cheers.
And I think when we played Psycho for the first time, people are like, oh, wow, this is the sound Muse are going for in 2015. It's nice and heavy. I'm not sure they'd be expecting this from you. Where does the rest of the album sit in relation to these two yardsticks we can look at now?
Those are the two extremes of the album, I'd say. Psycho's the more heavy side, and obviously Dead Inside's the more melodic side, and the album kind of is in the middle, moves between those two extremes all the time, It probably leans more towards the heavy side. There's definitely a lot more guitar action on this album than any previous, the last few albums anyway. But yeah, it's like a mixed bag,
You say the Dead Inside is like a song about love. So what's the other song love song that's on there?
Aftermath.
Yeah, Aftermath.
Oh,
yeah, that's kind of like because basically you have Dead Inside and it goes Psycho, and then after that it just gets darker and darker. You got songs like Mercy. The Handler is really dark. That's kind of and the theme is kind of like battling the dark forces of other people trying to control your mind and trying to make you do stuff you don't want to do.
Well,
eventually it gets to songs like Defector and Revolt, where basically sort of the person starts to fight back, at the powers that be, and obviously that's kind of the positive side of the album. And then Aftermath is kind of the rediscovery of love again.
Is this person you?
I'm not sure. It's like it's obviously it's like a narrative reflection, I guess, of elements of my own life. I'm not sure. Obviously it's written from a truthful place, but some of it's been put into a more dramatic context.
Of course.
And it must be inspired by a lot of the way you see the world heading. Like, how much research do you put into things to be able to sing songs like this? See, news websites or whatever. And has it come out fully formed in this way, or how much do you work on the concept of the album as it flows through as an entire whole?
Well, yeah, I was reading a lot, and I was reading a lot about drones and stuff, drone warfare, and obviously, and to me, just the drones, they seem like such a contemporary metaphor, a modern metaphor of what it is to be a psychopath, or what it is to be a person that can kill with no feeling, and how, and I guess how a lot of us don't know, but we are sort of gradually being turned into being able to make this, kill decisions, for example. These people are making kill decisions in, foreign countries, like using remote control, toys, basically. And it basically, like, technology enables us to kind of all of us be a little bit less empathetic to what's going on, So in as much as we're getting more connected, we're also getting a little bit more disconnected, So I think I'm sort of, the albums that started, that's where the concept started from, the idea of drones as a metaphor for both, modern technology, but also how we all become a little bit less empathetic in the modern world,
Thank you so much, Matt Bellamy, for joining us this morning. You've got a gig to rush off to at Brighton Dome. Best of luck for it.
We're going to go out with Time Is Running Out by Muse to celebrate the release of Drones, which is coming out on June 5 in Australia. Cannot wait for that, just in time for my birthday. So, Matt, you know what to get me. Thank you so much. Have a great show tonight, Matt, and we'll chat to you soon.
Cheers. Thanks a lot. See you later, Matt.
Triple J Breakfast
with Matt and Alex.